and welcome into To Your Health. Back in 1962, Tom and Emily Vincent opened up Adams Street Drugs. It was Adams Street Drugs because it was on Adams Street downtown across from then St. Margaret's Hospital. They kept that name until they opened their second location across from Baptist Health on the south side, and then it became Adams Drugs. Today I have with me Mike Vincent, and the name continues on with the Adams Drugs. Chris Fong, and you are the chief pharmacist for Adams Drugs chain.
Yeah.
You make sure everybody is putting the correct RX in there.
Right.
And Mike, thanks for all you do in the community. You're the CEO, or like to say, we do whatever it takes. Like old Ray Kroc years ago, if the napkin's on the floor, we pick it up.
Right.
Yep. And one thing we'll say about Adams Drugs, now you have 12 locations in the area.
Right.
You're very much involved in this community. You're a part of the community. You're the fabric of the community. And we want to make sure it stays in place. And there are some things that are happening that are causing stress on the pharmacy business right now, especially local pharmacies. And we want to kind of bring it to the view of our viewers and let them know if something happens in the legislature, talk to your legislators when they're home, tell them what they need to do. So basically, what's going on right now?
Well, there's the bill that they're still working on. That pretty much, we want to get paid for what we're doing, nothing more. The PBMs pretty much.
And that's a pharmacy benefit manager, okay?
Right. They're the ones that decide what you're going to get, where you're going to get it, and when you're going to take it. Their philosophy, it seems, is that the pharmacist really doesn't bring much value to the healthcare chain, and we tend to disagree. They're talking about closing pharmacies. I mean, we know personally of some that are just hanging on.
Yeah, 5 or 6 recently.
They're mortgaging their houses. They go into the bank, and that's no way to run a business. But and it's all come to a head. If something doesn't happen this session, there are going to be a lot of pharmacies out of business. We are somewhat healthy, but we're looking in the future. In pharmacy today, if you're not evolving, if you're just taking pills out of a big bottle and putting them in a little bottle, you're not going to be able to stay in business much longer. You have to provide something else. And Chris can touch on some of the things that we're doing now. This is pretty important.
Now, are these pharmacy benefit managers, are they regulated by the state, or are they independent and can just do their own thing?
They're pretty much they're not regulated by anybody. In fact, there's supposedly some legislation being introduced in the, Congress that hopefully that we can get passed. But
is that nationally?
Yes,
okay.
Nationally. But we're just looking to get paid for what we're doing. I mean, they're pretty much saying, in some cases, not even paying for the ingredient cost, and saying we're not going to pay the pharmacy anything. In 2008, 2009, CMS did a survey how much it cost to fill a prescription, and that cost was $10.64. Well, that was what, 17 years ago? Let me tell you, rent's gone up, payroll's gone up,
property taxes going up.
So you can pretty much take that $10.64 and double it, and that's about what it costs us to fill a prescription. They don't want to pay us anything.
That's sad. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as a pharmacist, we definitely do more than take pills out of one bottle and put it in another. You know, there's a lot of value-added services that the pharmacists provide. We're the most accessible and most respected, trusted health profession out there. And as a pharmacist, I live it every day. We do health screenings, we do point-of-care testing. During COVID, we were there for vaccinations when other people closed. We were the community pharmacy stayed open. I think with the stress on the like the physicians and family practice doctors and just really doctors in general, I think having a healthcare professional like a pharmacist that you can that's easily accessible is really important. And I think that's the trend, is for pharmacists to be able to do a lot more. Again, we're already doing biometric screenings and some of the point-of-care testing for flu and strep and all that. But Mike touched on it. We're not even aside from the services that we provide, we're not even getting reimbursed the cost to order the product. So if you have a prescription filled and it costs $500, a lot of times they're paying us $450. So we're not even getting the cost of it back, much less
You're
the
in the hole
payroll.
when you put the bottle across
He
the
made a
counter.
good point. On some of these prescriptions, we'd be better off standing at the door giving the customer a $20 bill and telling them to go somewhere else. Because as soon as they walk in the door and we fill the prescription, we're going to lose at least double that.
And the other thing people don't realize, if you buy a prescription or anything online or some other way, you've got no advice. You can walk into your pharmacy and give the pharmacist that prescription. He can say, wait a minute, I've got the whole history on your medicines here. That is not going to go along with
Right.
that. Those are the things that can cause a person grave illness.
Really.
And it's even more important in underserved areas. We have some of that in Montgomery, but especially in towns where there's like pharmacy, could be a pharmacy desert. That's, the pharmacist is like the only healthcare professional around that you can kind of get some medical advice. So it's even more important in those areas. Usually the underserved areas that they have the least amount of resources and usually the sickest patients. And I think that when if a pharmacy has to close, those are the patients that, have the most negative impact.
And it's not just community pharmacies that are affected. The chains are being affected by it. Walgreens is really struggling. In fact, they're supposed to supposedly close today on selling their company to a private equity group for 10% of what it was worth years ago. There's one that's closing here locally at the end of this month. And this was a 600 script a day pharmacy closing down and transferring to a store that is doing 700. So that's 1,300 a day. They can't service that.
No, and they can't afford to.
And the PBMs, and I've read where for every $100 spent on a prescription, 25 of it goes to the PBM. And to me, they don't bring any value. All they do is
They're
take
just a
money out.
middleman.
Yeah. And my wife asked me the other day, she said, well, what is their end game? And I said, I really don't know, but it looks like, first, they want us out of business. They don't want us servicing their patients. Two, they want their patients to go to their pharmacy. Or three, they want people to sit by their mailbox and wait for their drugs to show up in the mail.
Not a good way to do it.
No. And that, in turn, is going to put people in the hospital.
Well, that's what we were just saying.
I mean, these insurance companies think they're saving money, but when their patients start showing up in hospitals because they haven't been compliant on taking their blood pressure medicine or their diabetic medicine, then we got a healthcare problem.
Or it just didn't show up.
Right.
Or it can be stolen.
Yes.
Think about that. We're in a day and age when anything mailed is dangerous.
True.
So what can our viewers do at this point?
Well, I think it's important to be educated on the subject. I think there's a lot
That's why we brought you here.
I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, Jack. There's opponents to it, and obviously the PBMs are going to be opposed to it. And like I say, when I say get educated on it, don't take my word for it. PBMs are being investigated by the Federal Trade Commission. They just came out with a second report. It's pretty scathing. Record profits. Last I checked, I don't think a PBM's gone out of business. In fact, it's like I said, Google.
Moving along.
Yeah, moving along.
Yep.
Look at the profits. I think there's 3 big ones now that control 80% of the prescriptions that are getting filled. So, when there's misinformation out there, who do you trust? The pharmacist that you've known for 20 years, that you go to church with, that coach your child in baseball, that gives back to the community, that will go up there and open up a store on the weekend or at night to fill your prescription, or a corporate company, someone representing a corporation that's making billions in profits, while pharmacies are struggling. So.
Well, thank you for what you guys have done in the past since 1962, and hopefully it's going to be able to continue into the future.
We hope so. We need
I
some.
plan on being here.
Yeah, we need some effective legislation. We need the senators and the representatives.
They can go by any of our locations. We have a list of all the local representatives, and they can call Governor Ivey's office.
That's right, and they'll have all that information.
Yes.
Right.
We need them to take some action.
Good. Well, make sure that you do it because obviously it's your health and basically you're responsible for your own health. Remember that. And we'll be right back right after this.